addition to Terra, I'm actually a active PvPer. I've also written a guide on Terra today with the mechanics and specifics on the Slayer class, and how to kind of perform with that class on a competitive level. I like to make YouTube videos of random PvP, as well as my own silly adventures. So if you want to check that out, then you can do so later on within the podcast. But anyways, enough about me. Kilryan, what were we going to talk about today?
Today is we're trying to make this a very, very informational and you should listen podcast today. The reason why is because in the near future they're going to be having a full crafting overhaul. What this means is they're literally changing pretty much the entire system of how it works. Right now, crafting as it sits is very non-useful. You pretty much just have your crafting, level it up through the boards in towns and whatnot, get free max 410, and then that's that. That's all that you use it for. And there's no cooldown or anything like that. That doesn't inhibit you from power leveling those professions. In this next patch, though, with the Rehaul, they're doing a ton of things. Crafting is going to be very, very important in terms of consumables because they're introducing a new kind of a new profession, which is going to be at a whole nother level of fucking randomness to Terra. They're going to be implementing a new system of limiting how often you can craft as well as how often you can gather. So that means that basically, if you're not max right now, you need to be, because they're going to be inhibiting you in the near future. We're also going to be talking about how VM3 is going to be crafted in this upcoming patch as well. This upcoming patch being after Reapers with the new 5-man dungeons and everything like that we've covered in previous podcasts. And then overall, we're just going to be overviewing how you go about preparing for this patch, what you can expect to see this patch, and just understanding this upcoming crafting rehaul. So, First, let's start off with the crafting system and the new points that are going to be implemented. You want to talk a little bit about that, Flo?
Okay, well, right now with the way crafting goes, as you craft whatever you want. You can do it at any moment in time. It's kind of unlimited in a sense. You can always be able to, if you wanted to, you can make either 10 potions or 1,000 potions. With the next system coming up, you have these things called production points. If you follow me along here, basically what it is that you have a certain cap. Every character that you have will have a certain cap. When you're crafting, you'll slowly use up these production points. And once you're down to 0 points, you're no longer able to gather and you're no longer able to craft any sort of items whatsoever. So with that in mind, you should really, those points recover over time. Those points can recover through, in K-tera, they have a consumable, or in J-tera, sorry, they have a consumable called the Goddess Elenu's Tears, and it basically recovers 1,000 production points immediately when you pay 10,000 gold. Not sure if that system's going to apply to us, but in regards to how long exactly does it take for us to get production points, Kilryan?
Every 5 minutes, we gain 5 points. And we start with the default of 1,500 production points, but then up to a max of 4,000. Up to a max of 4,000. So in a 24-hour time span, and mind you, they do accumulate even if you are offline, but you have to make sure that you do log on, especially after patches, up to 4,000 points. And so in 24 hours, you're only going to get 1,440 points, which what that really is going to be doing to the whole system is it's going to limit players. It's basically forcing a time span in which you're not going to be able to progress. I think that this is kind of one of those things that if the 1,000 production point consumable item that you were talking about on J-tera comes to US, that's going to be a major gold sink, especially for people who are looking to craft consumables like the new scrolls and potions. But also, all the people who are looking to get the highest end gear, you can't just get that overnight. You know what I mean?
You're not allowed to just speed through it. The game will limit you based on time. You can't just say, hey, today I just want to make all my VM3 pieces. No, you have to go through you have to go through all the crafting that you have to go through, and you have to just kind of wait it out or use these consumables, wait it out, or use it. You have to make these choices all the time. And with that being said, though, what they're also doing with the whole crafting overhaul is they're combining all of the crafting together. So weapons were separated between weapons and focus crafting, weaponsmithing and focus crafting. That's going to be combined together. All 3 armor types, they're all going to be combined together. The leather, plates, cloth, those are all fused in together. And also, there's the alchemy, which is also getting a big change in itself. And there's also a new category called the runic category, right? Is that what it's called?
It's like rune crafting or something like
the
that.
runic profession, which is kind of like
enchanting in World of Warcraft, to be honest.
It's kind of like using charms, but on your gear, except it's permanent or temporary, depending on what you're looking for.
We'll talk a little bit more about that. On top of the introduction of that new profession, though, and the consolidation of weaponsmithing, focus crafting, and all the armor types, they're increasing the cap. They're increasing the skill cap of all these professions to 800. One thing to note, though, we can only get each profession to 500, and then we have to select a single one that we can master in. Each character that you have will have that ability to dictate which specific mastery it goes into, mind you. So that's not if you want to have every single character or each individual 60 have a different one, you'll have all the masters. But if you're a single character player, basically, you only get to choose one profession at a time to get to 800, which is the new max. And what that's really going to do is, one, it's going to stimulate the economy, because if you're a single player, if you're like a single character player, you're going to need, let's say you need a new material from an armor smith. Let's say you need a new material from alchemy. But you're a weaponsmith yourself. You're going to be having to buy those. You're going to have to buy those kinds of things unless you actually want to reset your entire. You get to 800. You actually have the option of resetting all of that back to 500 and then leveling up a different one. Like, what do you think the implications of this whole reset and the new items is going to be?
It's supposed to be a economic change in a sense. It allows the person who likes to tinker around and just craft and really get those consumables and all those little materials out there. It allows them to be tradable, because you know what? To the person that doesn't have as much time as everyone else and they just kind of wants to buy their way to victory, like they have that option of being able to buy those materials off of players that work really hard to get those consumables and really work really hard to get those materials, and they can just basically make money in a sense without having to do that much, because they have a lot of more time, so they have more chances of making money. Back with the previous crafting, how previous crafting was made through a sort of like, if you were to look at it through an economic standpoint, back in the day it used to be only Archer and the Titans were used to be the only consumable you're allowed to sell that actually made a lot of money, because they were actually that difficult to get. Whereas now there's new opportunities for people to make money over and over and over again through all 4 trees. So it's just like wherever you're working towards, you're bound to make money because people are bound to need it. So
exactly, and the fact that it brings that another level of it, because I personally hated the fact that right now the only way to make any form of gold is by selling either savagery scrolls or like potions, which, mind you, is very minimal profit to begin with. But like you said, with this upcoming patch, it's going to be a whole nother economical method people are going to be able to make money with. And I've always been a huge fan of crafting in games. Like, if you can make your name as like a crafter, or just being a guild's crafter of armor smithing, a guild's crafter of weaponsmithing, things like that, it'll be adding that whole nother level, which I really look forward to. Let's talk a little bit more about this new profession, though. So this runic profession that they're adding into the game, I compared it to enchanting in World of Warcraft, except not quite as fancy. Actually, on the stream right here, I'll be bringing up a list here of what exactly this brings about. So what the runic profession is you craft these scrolls which will have a varying kinds of buffs available for you, for your gear. These things can vary from power, crit chance, increased healing effect, attack speed, pure health, like 5,000 health. But the real key point to this, guys, which is the whole other RNG factor that I was going to be talking about, was each of these scrolls that a runic profession master crafts is RNG. For those of you who don't know what RNG means, it's random number generator, meaning there's a chance you'll make a scroll that'll be shitty. Let's look at this Beast Bash number 1 at the top here. It's a weapon, so it's for a weapon, crafting level 500, increases power by 3 for a 3-day duration. It's a temporary buff, a temporary enchantment, and for only 3 power. And you can actually see the differences in between all of these going up from 5 power for 3 days, 8 power for 3 days, or even permanent. There's a rare chance of getting a permanent runic scroll to increase just forever. And those are even higher amounts of like 7 power and 10 power. What is your take on this new profession, Flo?
It's a new way to min-max your character. Not everyone needs power. Not everyone needs crit rate. You get more choices to decide from. Like, for example, like, you have the power on the Lancer, but hey, maybe I don't want the power. Maybe I want the aggro instead. You get the 8% aggro. You have a choice of deciding where to go. There's even the niche thing. You have a 2.5% CDR and 4% attack speed, 1% attack speed and healing. You even have the crit resist, which is supposed to be one of the major standpoints of this new patch. There's all these options you can decide from, and you can really pick and choose, when it comes right down to it. So just something new. Like, everyone usually thinks that, when you get your gear, you're done. It's like, no, you still have to get those consumables, and then, hey, hey, I want the right rune on my right gear for all my gear, so.
And that's, we're not 100% sure, guys, as far as if these new scrolls, these new runes are going to be are tradable on the auction house. But if they are, this is going to be massive. Like, massive for the people who are looking to be crafters and make money through their own, like, crafting profession. Because the fact that these are going to be RNG, sure, you could be a runic crafter yourself, but guess what? You might craft 5-6 times, because the materials for these are actually kind of pricey as well to even attempt to craft one of the higher up ones. And the fact that we're going to be seeing this kind of if a crafter gets lucky and crafts the permanent 10 power for a weapon or glove rune, we're going to see that on the auction house for a lot of money. You know what I mean? And so that just kind of goes back to the economical standpoint of it, that this crafting overhaul and the introduction of a new thing, like you said, it's going to be a whole nother degree of min-maxing. And keep in mind, though you said that this is for min-maxing a character, look at something like, let's see, where was it? The Giant, or no, not Giant's Courage, the Powerful Giant's Heart for chest and boots. The permanent one, the highest permanent one, is 5,000 health on each of those. That's 10,000 collective health if you put that on both chest and boots. That's going to be a necessity for PvP, in my opinion.
Not to mention, you can also get the underwear, which is another 5,000 HP. So that's 15,000 HP. You're going to see the regular classes, even before priests and such, having 100k HP. Mm-hmm. People are all going to have high health. Mm-hmm. So
it's going to be... It's definitely one of those things that it adds... Because right now, all you have to do, really, is... It's pretty easy if you have some money. Like, whenever you're first gearing up and stuff like that, it's kind of hard. Like, you're like, oh man, I got to masterwork this. And especially if you have bad MES luck, Mastering Mag Scroll luck, or you have bad spellbinding luck, it takes a lot of time to get to that point. But once you get it, you're done. This kind of new profession is going to be for the people who are end game. You know what I mean? Like me and you.
Yeah.
I can easily spellbind whatever I want. I can easily masterwork whatever I want. But having all of these new enchantments available, having all of these new just features and the RNG factor to them is going to add this whole nother level of theory crafting and a whole nother level of time sink, but improving your character pretty exponentially, in my opinion. So it's going to be very interesting to see how people go about mixing all of these, and how the veteran players are going to be basically putting a lot more effort and money forth to try and get these perfect enchants. I think we've talked enough about runic crafting and how it's going to be changing how Terra works and whatnot, and hopefully everyone in stream and everyone on YouTube, comment down below from what you saw, from what you've heard, what are you going to be doing with this new profession? But so we actually had a question on Reddit today, which matches perfectly with the new crafting system and whatnot, is the introduction of VM3. As a lot of people know from the Terra Today posts, and a lot of people know from, just Twitter, from Espei, and all these great people who provide information for Terra, there's two options. There's to craft VM3 with VM2 and reduce the cost, or you can craft VM3 straight up. The difference is a different requirement in materials. Let's talk a little bit about the PvE. What is the difference from having PvE and not having PvE VM2?
It should be like a huge reduction from what I can see. Hold on, let me actually open this up real quick. Sorry, I'm not entirely prepared here, but but there is like a couple. I believe it's like around 100,000 Agnitor difference or such.
Yeah, we can see here. I actually have an image right up on my screen showcasing if you do not have VM3. If you do not have VM3, or VM2, sorry, ready and prepared to craft VM3, you're going to have to go through a couple of things. Mind you, some of the materials that we are showcasing on this, guys, we're not 100% sure on what it takes, where it drops from, how often it drops from, but we're just showcasing what we do know currently. So, without VM2, for PvE, this is strictly PvE, guys. Without VM2, you're going to be having to get all those Chandra quills. You're still going to have to run your MC hard mode to get the quills, of course, with a 100% drop rate, and this new gear will shred through it. But the main things that we really want to look at are these shadow shards, which are Agnitor credit. For what's called without having the VM2, it's going to cost you 30,000 Agnitor credits to craft the VM3. That's actually not too much with the new implementation of, or the Nexus Traverse changes that they're doing across the whole board, which y'all can actually read a couple patch notes on Terra Today. But other than that, I mean, seeing the Mark of Abomination, the runic overlays, the cracked traces, where do all those come from, Flo?
Most of them actually all come from the dungeon itself. There's like RNG chances when you're doing the 1-man and the 1-man, the 7-man. They're just random items that just kind of just drop randomly. It's just a matter of running them over and over until it drops. Other than that, I mean, I believe the flotation stone is off of a certain box that you have to open up as well, which you get off of the. Hold on, we can actually look through that real quick. Do you have that information by chance?
No, I don't have the exact boxes or whatever that we're going to be going through.
Yeah.
And mind you guys, with the crafting and everything like that, with the new VM3 that's coming out, we are going to be posting links in stream as well as in the description down below, showcasing a bunch of Excel spreadsheets of what exactly each profession makes and what you're going to be needing, as well as where you go about getting a lot of these items as well. Just so everyone can be fully prepared for the patch.
Yeah.
Were you able to find that, Flo?
No, I believe not. Not at the moment.
So most of these items for PvE are going to be, like Flo said, a random drop out of the new instances that are coming out. Most of them are not heavy emphasis on the newest 5-man hard mode dungeon, though. Most of them are just the standard, much like the 357 right now, that you just run each day and go about getting. So VM PvE isn't it's not that hard in my opinion to make. You know, it's from what we're seeing here, 30,000 Agnesur, keep in mind, making it fresh. It's not that hard. You also have to get your Mark of Bloodsheds, which they are changing those actually, to where you get them from the 357 without opening Zenith boxes. So we'll be seeing those drops a little bit more. But outside of that, without VM2 and with PVM2, it's not that huge of a difference. And so I think PvE VM isn't really going to be that hard to get. What about... I've heard a lot of things about this VM 3.5 weapon, though. What do you know about that, Flo?
Okay, so basically with the new 5-man hard mode, MC hard mode equivalent dungeon that people have been downing, there is a brand new set called the Luminously VM3 3.5 weapon, which drops off successfully downing the boss. There's a quick version, there's an intense version, which according to a lot of people that have been playing K-tera right now, is significantly better to get it off of that dungeon and downing the boss rather than actually crafting it yourself, since it saves you a lot of time. The only advantage of crafting VM3 PvE over VM3 3.5, which you get off of the drop, is the keen weapon advantage. And so keen has some applications to certain classes, such as, you know, berserkers, sorcerers, and archers. So there's that option right there. Seeing how a lot of us are already acquainted with the whole quick, intense, and keen, you know, which one do we like to go for, which one do we prefer. And definitely from a lot of news is the advantage is getting the quick weapon and the intense weapon off of the new hard mode dungeon, which has been down with the new gear that you've been getting off of the 5-man, 7-man, 1-man that they've released so far. So you can definitely see that as an option and a big jump in time, like time saving. So
the fact that they are having this new 3.5 VM, I think so keep in mind, guys, that this is only a weapon. This is not including a gear. There is no 3.5 VM3. Yeah, there's no VM 3.5 gear. It's only weapon. So the weapon you're probably going to want, if you are confident and able to clear the newest 5-man hard mode dungeon, you're going to want to go about doing that if you can get that intense or that keen. However, all the other gear is still going to take you, making it from scratch or making it with VM2 PvE. So overall, you're still going to be seeing a lot of farming that you need to be doing. You still are going to be seeing a whole bunch of requirements of basically doing the new 1-man, the new 5-man, the new 7-man, just to get all of that gear. If you are a min-maxer, if you are a person who's looking for the best gear, the idea behind this patch is to keep people playing as long as possible to get the best gear possible. It's not going to be an overnight thing by any means. Right now, you can practically craft some of the best gear in a pretty short time span. Let's see. Give us a brief overview of the PvP VM.
Alright, let me open up the PvP real quick for the stream to see. With the PvP right now, when you're upgrading your gear from PvP VM2 to PvP VM3, it actually is a giant time saver. If you're gonna have the option of crafting your VM2, it's highly recommended. The amount of consumables that you're gonna need to craft, in a sense, is kind of almost absurd with the amount of time that you have to put in right now. There are certain materials that you're going to need to require, such as the Vital Silver Oil and the Ghoulish Silver Oil. Those are crafted through, there's NPC weapon kits, as we're normally used to, buying it off of the merchants. More importantly, though, you're going to need a lot of essential mana for the Ghoulish Silver Oil. I believe it's three essential manas and three weapon kits to make one oil. And there's 3 idyllic leaves and 3 weapon kits to make 1 vital silver oil. So you're going to need that. Obsidian gems are really expensive pieces of gear. Piece of material that we need to craft. So let me open up this real quick for you guys to see. Aha! Crafted through weaponsmithing. As you can see here, it takes around 6 Agnator pieces and 3 Noctenium Societies. Noctenium Society should be 8k piece, and Nexus Agnator should be 6k piece. Unless it's the other way around. It's not translating for me for some odd reason.
And once again, we're going to be showcasing all of these numbers that we are reading from in the description down below if you're watching this on YouTube or in stream. Have you posted a link to the spreadsheet?
Yes, I've dropped the spreadsheet over on the chat along with the Espei's crafting guide, what we should start with, etc.
So for the most part, he was trying to put emphasis on this. Idyllic leaves and essential mana. Those two things are necessary to make the new gear. Both PvP and PvE. Both. It's going to be essential. Those two items are important. They are key. So right now, they're probably cheap. They're probably not being used because people don't read patch notes. And we're abusing that fact now by just showcasing it to everyone, telling everyone how to get prepared for this.
Think about how difficult these items are going to get. There's limitations on gathering with the production points. Not only that, but those same 2 materials are required to make the Fighter/Hero set, which is the Strike Force version 2, the one where you earn off of doing 7 Corsairs and 7 Battlegrounds. Those require those materials, a couple hundred of them. So just think about that. Like, if you have the time to gather these materials, we have about 1 month, I believe 1 to 2 months before the crafting overhaul, and we've got a couple more months before the whole VM3 Ascension patch actually hits our patch. So really, we are really vitalizing, essential, as Kilryan calls it, really get these materials out there. I'm trying my best to get them. I believe everyone should really try their best to get them right now, especially Kilryan, because he hasn't been playing Terra enough.
Hey, coming from you. All right. So, anyway, those are the things that are going to be necessary with the new crafting. However, how much did you talk about the PvP VM? Because this is absurd. The difference between PvP VM3 and PvE VM3 is like light years apart in terms of how hard it is to get. PvP being the harder one to get. So, on my screen here, and Flo should be showing it as well, is the difference between having Nightforge PvP 2 and not having Nightforge PvP 2 in terms of crafting. Some of the items that we're seeing here, it takes... Let's just talk about without VM2 PvP. It's going to take you 32 Victor's Fortification Stones. Each of those is 4,000 Bellicarium. So 32 times 4 would be what? 128, so 128,000 Bellicarium credits for the Victor's Fortification Stone alone. The Murderous Fortification Stone, this is Killing Spree, takes 37 of those times 6,000 apiece. So what does that end up being? 180...
222,000.
222,000. And then those silver oils... Hold on 1 second.
600 silver oils, 3 times per oil. That's 1,800 idyllic leaves, and 2,400 essential mana for you to get those 2 birds. And don't forget the obsidian gem. I just showed it earlier. It's 8,000 Agnator credits and 6,000 Nexus Noctenium Society for each one. So that's like, let me do some math real quick. 37 times 8,000.
Come on, you're Asian. You should be fast at this.
296,000 Agnator credits. That's close to 300,000 Agnator credits.
Keep this in mind. This is for the entire set. But think about how much we get in one Nexus. With double reputation boost, that lands us what? I think 4,000 was like a really good amount for one Nexus.
Yeah.
Needing 300 fucking thousand just for the obsidian gems. That's not including anything else that you might need. And so this, Agnator credit, make sure you cap that, guys. Right now I think the cap's 20,000, but they are raising the cap 24,000. But they are raising the cap to 100,000. While you can, cap out every single goddamn character you own. because the amount that you're going to need if you are looking to PvP is enormous. This was one of the main things that we wanted to point out with this podcast this time, is capping out Agneter, cap out your Belicarian, cap out your killing spree on every character you own, because the amount of credits you're going to need if you're looking to craft this full set, if you're a hardcore PvPer, and you don't want to go for the PvE, which is a lot easier to make, you need to be crafting or gathering and keeping all of this all these points. Otherwise, you're going to be put behind compared to a lot of the people out there who have been saving up for a long period of time. So this just kind of showcases how much you need to be preparing, and this is why we are making this podcast once again, just to make sure everyone is fully prepared to the best of their ability at the same time. Moving on a little bit, let's talk about the new jewelry that's available. Could you talk a little bit about that, Flo?
There's two different sets of jewelry. There is PvP and PvE jewelry. From what we know, the semi-enigmatic scrolls, which is something that everyone uses to generally roll their gear, is only applicable through PvE jewelry. It does not apply to PvP jewelry at all. PvP jewelry, if you want to get your accessories, your necklaces, they're about 20k Belicarian a piece. Let me actually open that up for you guys real quick here, since Kilryan is having a little bit of trouble speaking himself right now.
I'm dying.
Give me a second to open that up, since I was lagging here. Alright, hold on a second.
We're at 31 minutes right now. We're like halfway through.
Alright, so if you look over right here, there are two different sets. There is the PvE and the PvP one. The PvE one is earned through Seismic Token 2, Molten Token 2, which, right now we have those materials. We can upgrade them up through, there's like some items we can use to convert them over. There are different set bonuses for each one. The PvP one gives off more PvP, just like more PvP damage in general, and more like overall buffs. With the whole Zenith set that we have right now, that's already being applied with the new set right here. And there are three different choices that you have for each one. So ones that give aggro, ones that give healing, one that gives attack speed, like right now. So there's just a lot of stuff we have to do. There's a lot of min-maxing we have to work with right now.
The fact that there are those kinds of different jewelries that are available now is pretty huge, because it means that that's dropping out of Vault. We're gonna have to hope to the gods, basically, to get the kind of stats that we want. Everyone knows the pain of trying to get a good rolled Ring of Pain as it is right now, and they buffed the hell out of that drop rate even. So in the future, like, whenever we're going to be seeing a lot more of the just variety and whatnot, it's going to be hard to go about getting everything new. One thing that I would like to showcase, at least on mine right now, is the Seism tokens and the Molten tokens that he was talking about. We can transfer those over as well. I believe it's 16 Molten tokens or 16 Seism tokens equals 1 Molten token 2 or Seism token 2.
4 Seismics tokens ones equals 1 Seismic token 2.
Okay.
12 Molten tokens equals 1 of the new one.
Thanks for correcting me on that.
Yeah.
And so, for those of you, a lot of people don't know what Seisma tokens are. They're actually in Canstria. There's a Seisma token vendor, and what you have to do for that is go to the Velskir Hunt Merchant and get a fluorescing agent and get an Argon Essence. You can do only one of these a day, guys. So in the remaining days, make sure you're stocking up on these so you can actually get the new jewelry coming out. The Molten tokens, as well as the Seisma tokens, are for the PvE jewelry, but the PvP jewelry is strictly from Vault. So that's where that RNG was coming in that I was talking about.
And Seismic tokens are actually really easy to do. You can do it. We can have 1 Seismic token per character per day. So you can farm a maximum of 8 Seismic tokens on your account per day, since it has a 24-hour CD. So you get the agent. You go over, you kill a few BAMs. It drops off a BAMs the most. Drops on the floor, convert it over, boom, you're done. It takes around 5 minutes to do. I do it quite often actually, since it's really simple to do. Yeah, I actually do it all the time right now. And also with the molten tokens, remember you're doing your 3-man, your 5-man, your 7-man. Just hoard all as many tokens as you can. Don't buy steadfast gear to use it as fodder. It's a waste of your time. You want to convert all this over and try to. There is new PvE sets that you can use. You can buy with molten token 2, which are actually significantly better than the current gear that we have right now. So just make sure to hoard as much as you can. As for the PvP jewelry, as I said, there are 3 different necklaces for three different types. They're 20k a piece. They're RNG. You cannot roll them. You have to keep buying them until you get the right rolls. As for your rings, keep doing vaults. Yes, Ring of Pains, I know the pain. You have to keep doing vault over and over again until you get the right rings. It's going to be so much work, but it's definitely worth it because min-maxing is the definite highlight of this patch right now. All these things that we're getting, all these little bonuses, the set bonuses. As for people asking why VM3 PvP is worth it, it's because of the fact that there's PvP bonuses. You get the same set bonuses, but with those PvP advantages. So you have the bonus damages. Also, with healers right now, healers get the PvP defense on their weapon finally with their VM3, along with the double CDR. So that's more advantage right there. More reason for you to get that. It's more everything. It's just like so much stuff to get.
This patch is going. There's a lot of people who are like, "What do I do in Terra?" Like, "Oh, I got my Wonderhome gear. I don't want to make VM2. I don't want to push things right now." They're like, "Oh, that's fine. I don't want to min max. I don't want to do things." This is going to give people so much shit to do. You can't escape. You can't have the excuse, "Oh, I don't have anything productive to do." Because with this upcoming patch, you need to be maxing out your credits. You need to be gathering your molten tokens. You need to be gathering your seismic tokens. You need to be gathering your T14 fodder for T15 fodder. There's tons of things that you can be doing right now, and that's what you need to be putting emphasis on. Did you talk a little bit about the T14 to 15 fodder?
No, we've not actually talked about that. Right now, I've got about maybe 4-5 guild banks full of fodder, T14 rares and superiors. You can actually break them down and convert them to dust, and the dust it actually can be traded in to a merchant, and it gives you T15 fodder. T15 fodder is not as extravagant in the next patch. If for those who've watched my K-tera stream in the past, I was doing the solo dungeons and the 5-man dungeons, and they give off these chests. In those chests, sometimes they don't give you T15 fodder. It actually gives you 2 pieces of T14 fodder instead of 1 piece of T15 fodder. So that's more reason to break it down. Just keep converting it over and over. T15 will be definitely one of the things that's going to be making an economic change right now, along with all the materials that you require for all of the gear to be made, along with the runic scrolls, along with gathering, because gathering is going to be a pain in the ass since there's limitations on both gathering and crafting. There's just so much stuff that you need to get. It's unbelievable. It almost blows me out of the water. So, just so much to get. I don't know what else to say, Kilryan.
Yeah. There's not really much else that we can say other than, everything that we've been preaching as far as making sure you cap your credits, make sure that you get everything done that you need to get done in preparation for this patch. And I know, yes, I'm pretty much dying. Sorry I can't hardly talk right now, guys. But, that's what we wanted to do with this podcast, is make sure everyone is prepared. Hopefully this will give you all the edge on a lot of the players that are just oblivious to, reading Terra Today, reading Espei's guide, reading Yosha's stuff. Yosha has helped us tremendously, so make sure to check out their AMA and stuff like that on the Resonance forums and stuff like that. But hopefully everyone here has learned what they need to be stacking up on, what they need to be collecting, what they need to be prepared for with this upcoming patch. Let's see. Let's actually close this up here because we've covered quite a bit, and I think we're approaching, what are we at? 40 minutes just talking about all of this stuff. And I know we jumped around a lot, guys. We tried to showcase everything that we could, but this was a lot of information, and we want to keep it kind of short. But hopefully you all found it very useful. Hopefully you will be prepared for this next upcoming patch. So, TLDR, get Idyllic Leaves, get Essential Mana, cap your Killing Spree, cap your Agnatur, cap your Belicarium, every single goddamn character. And just be ready. Do your Molten Tokens. Run the 3-5-7. They're still worth it right now, guys. Stack up on T14 fodder and get your Seismic Tokens as well. All of these things are going to be necessary, essential for the upcoming patch. That's the TLDR. And, that was the TLDR someone asked for on Reddit as well. But hopefully you enjoyed this, guys. Next week we might actually have a giveaway. Talking with K-tera today, one of our, essentially our first sponsor, I guess. We've been in close ties with Chris and Chris, aka Nanotech. Y'all see him in a lot of streams.
And Kato.
And Kato Prime, who's the developer of K-tera today. Both of those guys are really, really awesome. And hopefully next week we'll have something to give for y'all. But for those of you who don't, this is the Plug Life section of our usual podcast. Make sure to follow me on YouTube, specifically at youtube.com/Kilryan. You can follow me on Twitter as well, at Kilryan. Anytime I start streaming, anytime I upload a video, that'll be uploaded on there. And I also have a Facebook if you want to follow that, at Kilryan as well.
And if you want to check out any of my content and what I have to say, feel free to check me out at youtube.com/FlowerRow. Of course, my stream, which I do plan to stream actively, whether it's K-tera or any other games, feel free to check me out at twitch.tv/FlowerRow. Of course, there's also the regular plugs at FlowerRow on Twitter and FlowerRow on Facebook. So check me out there as well for any news and updates.
Thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully, y'all found this to be very informational, and hopefully, you follow our guidelines. Once again, like I said, thanks for watching, guys. Catch y'all next time.
See you guys next time.